Hi, my friends. This is Melusi Ndhlalambi from MelVee Broadcasting Network. Many of you may not know this, but I thought I should share this with you. I am a Sabbath keeper. I keep the seventh-day Sabbath according to the Bible. There are three reasons maybe why I am a Sabbath keeper. And I thought I would share this with you. Hopefully that I may help you to think about whether you too are following the teachings and the life of Jesus Christ. There are three reasons why I'm a Sabbath keeper. The first reason is because that's what the Bible instructs us to do. You see, the record says when God had finished all his work of creation, he rested on the seventh day from his work. And he blessed the Sabbath day. He hallowed it and he sanctified it. Friends, that for me means a lot, means everything. The fact that God himself rested from his work that he had made, which included me, and he rested on the Sabbath day. Then I know that the Sabbath day is an important institution to God. No wonder the Bible says, he then gave it to man. He shared the blessing of the Sabbath with man. Firstly, we see that when he created the world, he made the Sabbath, hallowed it, and then gave it to Adam. So the first thing Adam did was to rest on the Sabbath day. So my first reason is that God's word instructs us to keep the Sabbath holy. When you read carefully Genesis chapter 2, verse 1 to 3, it will tell you that Jesus rested, or God rested at creation on that day. Now, he rested from all his labor. And when he gave the commandment in the book of Exodus chapter 20, he then says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou do all your work, but on the seventh day you must rest. For in 6 days I created the heavens and the earth. Neither you, nor your daughter, nor your son, your maidservant, your manservant, your donkey, whatever is in your gates, your visitors in your gates, they must rest, because on that day you are remembering the work of creation. So two things I want to benefit from keeping the Sabbath is the physical rest that God gives us. But more importantly, my friend, it is the blessing that God put on the Sabbath day. There is a blessing for keeping the Sabbath day. If you read carefully, this is a cathedral in space that God gave us for our blessing. Now, the Bible is very clear that Jesus himself kept the Sabbath. Luke chapter 4, verse 16, as his custom was, he went into the temple and kept it. Even at his death, you would remember he died. You and I, my friends, will agree that Jesus died on Friday. That's why we keep Easter Friday. I think those who set up the Easter holidays didn't mix up the biblical system there. Friday he died, and they rested according to the law. And early on Sunday morning, that's the record of Luke chapter 23 and chapter 24, verse 1. Early on Sunday morning, they went and found him resurrected. So the day between his death and his resurrection, he rested. That is the Sabbath day that the Bible gives us. And so we see Jesus keeping it as a tradition. We see the Acts of the Apostles, in fact, the Acts of the Holy Spirit. That's the book of Acts. Acts chapter 18, verse 4, verse 11, chapter 16, verse 18. They kept the Sabbath. Even Paul, that is seen to be a Sunday keeper, he actually kept the Sabbath. And we see as well that the Sabbath will be kept in the new heavens and the new earth, my friend. It's not going to end now. So the Sabbath is a perpetual sign of God here to henceforth with to the eternity. Isaiah chapter 66 verse 22 and 23 says, in the new moon and the new Sabbath all flesh shall come and worship before God. So why do many Christians then keep Sunday, not Sabbath? Well, the short answer I found was tradition. As the church was being persecuted in Europe and in the greater Roman Empire, many began to compromise. And we know through Constantine and the edicts of the Roman Catholic Church that came out of the Roman Empire, they began to demand that people worship on a Sunday, which was the day when the Lord resurrected. But I don't find any biblical evidence in the Bible to that effect. And so today, I want to share with you that I keep the Sabbath day because when I studied my Bible, the only day that God set apart, sanctified, hallowed, and blessed and gave to mankind as a blessing is the Sabbath day. And that's the one Jesus also calls the Lord of the Sabbath. It's not Sunday because that's the first day of the week when he resurrected. We may have to change the whole Easter holiday if at all we want to obliterate the Sabbath, because even in his death, Jesus honored it and the apostles kept it. And so I want to be compliant to the Bible. Second reason why I keep the Sabbath day is because of love. I'm in love because God loved me so much that he gave his son so that through his faith and his life, I may be made compliant to God. And so if you love the Lord who did that for you, you would keep his commandments. I remember the words of Jesus in John chapter 14, verse 15, and I heard him very well where he says, if you love me, keep my commandments. He even asks and says, why do you call me Lord, Lord, and you will not do the things I tell you? So you can't say Jesus is your Lord when you break his law, which includes the 10 commandments. So I keep it because the fourth commandment of the Decalogue has not been changed by God. Only men tried to change it. Jesus worshipped on that day. I also want to worship on that day. He loved me. He redeemed me. He gave his life for me. And so I want to give my life in return by obeying him. So there are many reasons why I love and I obey Jesus, but the two primary ones, really, like I've already explained, is the fact that he is my creator. I did not drop from somewhere. I did not burst out of a bubble. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Nothing in me shows chance, but everything in me shows design. And so it confirms that God created me. It's quite clear, my friends. The sinews, the bones, the nerves, the chemical reactions, the emotions, the mind, the thinking, it clearly shows that there's a God who created me. And for that reason, I worship him. Secondly, he is my Redeemer. He's the grace of God that has appeared unto all men, teaching that we must live godly in this world and not without God. And so Jesus created and rested on the seventh day, and I want to rest on that day as well. And he gave it as a sign. If you read the book of Exodus, chapter 31, verse 17, the Bible makes it clear that it is a sign between him and his people. So I want to be his person. I want to be part of his people, his saints. And so he gave it as a sign that they might know that he is the God who creates them and the God who redeems them. And that's why even in the end times, he has a people, Revelation chapter 14, that are preaching the everlasting gospel. And that gospel says, fear God, and fear God and worship him and worship the one who created the fountains of the living waters and the heavens and the earth. So I worship him because he is my creator. And so every time I remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, I am actually honoring him as a creator. And I'm honoring him as my Redeemer and my Savior. So He created us, and I keep it because He is the one who created me, and secondly, because He's the God who is cleansing me and purifying me from sin. So it is a special sign of my salvation. It is a sign between me and Him, that I may know that He is Lord, who sanctifies me. That's what Ezekiel chapter 20 verse 12 says. Now, once a week, when I stop and refrain from my work, from my physical work, I don't have to go to church to show that I am a Sabbath keeper. But I observe it, and of course, going to church, obviously in these days of COVID-19, it's very difficult to go and congregate, but you can still keep the Sabbath wherever you are. Now, every Sabbath I keep it. It reminds me of the creation and the God who created. It just dispels the theory of evolution. I don't have to worry about it, because the Sabbath reminds me there is a God. I may not see Him with my eyes, but just the fact that He has given me the law to keep it, it orders my steps. It shows me there's a God who loves me, and there's a God who's willing to save me. And He has given me a cathedral in time and space, so that I can know He is God who is with me and is able to save me. And that I must depend on Him for everything. And thirdly, God has invited us to follow Him and obey Him. And so I keep the Sabbath because of experience. What I have experienced is that God has given us a challenge to say, if you keep my Sabbaths and you call the Sabbath a delight, you will indeed be fed from the hidden manna of your father Jacob. And God says, I will cause you to walk in high places. When I was a young student in high school and university, I used to systematically avoid taking my classes on Sabbath, any extra classes, any lectures, or any exams for that matter, because the Sabbath day was so important to me, I couldn't desecrate it. And it is out of the success that God gave me, regardless, despite me not attending extra lessons and despite me not sitting on Sabbath day exams, I actually passed most of my exams. Miraculously passed most of my exams, I could say, because God helped me and rewarded me for being faithful to Him. In all my working life, I've traveled across the world. I have tried to avoid traveling on a Sabbath day. I have tried to avoid any Sabbath meetings, even if it means I stay in my hotel and I study, I pray on my own, if there's no church anywhere nearby. But I always try as much as possible, wherever I am, I set up that altar of Sabbath keeping. And so by experience, I've learned to delight myself in the Lord, because resting on that day, friends, I have found myself regaining physical strength. Emotionally, I'm healed. Socially, I reconnect with my family and my friends. And spiritually, I reconnect with my God. And that's why the Sabbath was given to men. It's not something that God did to us, but it's something that God, neither did He do it for us. He did it through us, so that through us we may connect with each other and we may also connect with Him. So the Sabbath day is a powerful connection point for relationships with God and with men, and for that reason I keep it. I stop all my earthly pursuits. I avoid any business travel and unnecessary engagements on that day, so that I may spend more time with my God and be spiritually, physically, emotionally, and socially revived. So when Jesus said the Sabbath, Mark chapter 2 verse 28, the Sabbath is given to men, all right? Or the Sabbath was made for men. There's a blessing right there, my friends. This is something God made for you. So how can you reject something God made for you? So I'm hoping you will embrace the Sabbath, just like I have embraced it, and that you will begin to see the benefits. Try this and see how the Lord will bless you. Just take not your own Sabbath, take the Sabbath of the Bible, the seventh day of the week, The day that starts on Friday night and goes until end of Saturday night, those 24 hours from even to even. That's how the Bible counts time. From Friday night as the sun goes down, the Sabbath has begun. Until the sunset the following day, take that time, lock it away as your cathedral in space, time to reconnect with God and your family, and you will see the benefits. So God said it, I will do it because I love Him and He loves me, and experience has taught me that the Sabbath day is indeed a blessing to mankind, to me particularly. So may the Lord bless you too, as you consider the blessing of the Sabbath day in this postmodern world where we are driven non-stop 24/7 by Wi-Fi, by internet, and we can work 24/7 with anyone around anywhere in the world. Friends, God still expects us to benefit from taking a repose and connecting with Him and being revitalized and refilled and revived. So I invite you to join me as I benefit and as I enjoy the blessing of the Sabbath. God bless you, and thanks for watching.